Hello everyone, I'm Forrest McFreelava, and this is Speedplay France in Stellaris number 16. We left off with the stagnant ascendancy to our south rather upset at us because we just keep purging people and they're not too fond of that. We also have our fleets more or less ready to fight. They are upgrading. We are kind of a ways from having another scientific research completed. We are vacillating between an energy deficit and a massive energy surplus just by turning on and off social welfare and benefits such as those. And realistically, we're just so close to the maximum number of energy, maximum amount of energy that we can have that it doesn't really make sense to do anything other than just kind of vacillate back and forth. Pop happiness has never really been that considerable of a force in our empire. So it's not really as though it matters. I just don't really like the thought of wasting energy. I suppose we could use that energy to build up our fleet even further. We do go ahead and make a rival out of that fallen empire, which will get us a nice amount of influence. So we're not really paying an influence toll by rivaling and unrivaling, or turning on and off the social welfare and whatnot. And at this point we are getting our navy all together. We did end up finishing a research, which would have probably been nice to have ready for our navy, but I didn't want to wait any longer than we already have. And our combined fleet strength is going to be something like 120,000 strength, which is just massively massive. I've played this game off and on since it came out and never had a fleet this strong. We are starting to really just purge all the various peoples who really are just upset about our empire and just not having a good time of it. We do go ahead and get ready to just declare war and take literally all of their worlds. We can actually completely conquer them in one war if we're able to succeed in this one war. So our entire battle fleet is just going to shovel itself at Dressel, which is their main, basically just base of power. They do have some of their ships attacking our worlds, but we have more worlds than they have worlds, and hopefully more ships than they have ships. And if it's going to be a war of attrition, we're going to hit them harder, quicker, and hopefully more thoroughly. So here we see we are just dominating all of their forces. Their fleet is dead. Their orbital systems are dying in droves. And there we go, we've secured their home sector. We've lost a small number, but not that significant, of ships, probably like 10,000. And we're sending one of our fleets off to go hunt down their fleet that's just kind of being a problem. Our construction ship is building a wormhole generator at the edge of their main system, and our armies are charging against their homeworld, landed already. We are just knocking this introductory part of the war out of the park. It has gone very well, very rapidly. Their armies are dying, their fleets are ineffective, and our fleets are chasing them down. We also managed to get another research. We go ahead and get more of that. And now from cradle to brother, we attack their next world in line, and we go ahead and land our armies. They are getting progressively weaker, although it doesn't really matter all that much. None of them were below half health, and we just dominate that world much as we dominated the last. And now Mother, their third world in this system of 3 inhabited worlds. We also had been purging peoples that are being replaced by humans, which is pretty swell. And hopefully we'll be able to, maybe not yet, but eventually just sort of get the universe more peopled by people. As awful as that implies, we are, however, not going to really have to worry about external threats, and we'll be able to make a galaxy filled with happy people. Now, admittedly, there are probably more humane ways to get it to be a happy empire, but purging is just kind of the tool we've got, and people seem to be very upset when you emancipate them from slavery, which I think is kind of ridiculous in the sense that I personally would probably be pretty enthused to be released from slavery, but this is really not at all relevant to what's happening right now. But what's happening right now is we're just dominating this fallen empire like we've dominated basically all of our recent opposition. What's really going to be interesting is how our society manages to hold up following well, more or less just the purging of everyone who's unhappy, and maybe the emancipation of those who manage to find happiness. It really depends, though, just how that all unfolds. You'll notice some of these slaves are pretty, well, not unhappy. We do end up purging quite a few of them, though. Really, the least happy people is how we're going to be picking this. And we go ahead and launch yet another invasion. We let our armies heal up a little bit, but I don't really imagine it's going to have that much resistance, which it really didn't. And we're just 3% war score away from finishing this war completely just through domination. They didn't really do very much to fight back. I mean, they really couldn't. We just outnumbered their fleet so significantly that their technological advantage kind of just fell under the wayside. And we have science ships going about researching all of their various debris in order to get us that amount of technology. And once we have their technology, we already vastly outnumber the fleet powers of the rest of the galaxy. So it'll really just be mopping up from that point forward. 2% away from victory in the war, our army is invading their last world, or not their last world, but the last world, and there we go. They have surrendered. They are now part of our empire. We can go ahead and rebuild a bunch of their buildings, enslave basically all of them. They aren't on worlds that our people would really want to go ahead and colonize. This area, though, is a Gaia world, so we're going to go ahead and just purge everyone who's unhappy and unuseful. We end up just purging everyone on this world and switching some of the ones we don't want to purge into slaves. And, yeah, there we go. We have enslaved quite a few people. We go ahead and add this all to a sector so we don't have to bother with the day-to-day administration of it. And, yeah, there we go. We have conquered the last considerable threat to the overarching dominance and superiority of the French, which means we can more or less from this point on deal with the universe as though we've already conquered it, since for all intents and purposes, we really already have. The one caveat to that is that there is still a massive defensive pact to our north, which we're probably just going to fight a quick war against, just to really rush in and dominate them, make sure that they aren't a threat, and then from there focus on matters of domestic tranquility, we'll say. So all of these fleets we go ahead and just merge together. We have 4 rather considerably powerful fleets, and we're just going to go through this list of their planets. I really wish you could search by proximity. It doesn't really matter all that much. We're going to just kind of scroll up and down for the next little while, just picking out the 5 closest sectors to ourselves, and then whatever else we can just kind of add on before getting to 100% war score, which really isn't too very much. I believe we just get the 7 closest systems to ourselves, and then since it's at 95, we just go ahead and liberate someone else. With the war declared, we go ahead and send our fleets. We do split them up even more to just take over basically everywhere nearby. And yeah, we just kind of send our fleets out. We probably won't really have to manage them very much, except for just to make sure that we're not dealing with any enemy fleets of considerably significant just strength, mainly. And it doesn't really look as though there's too much. It looks as though on this planet, in this system, they are bringing over all of their defensive pact ships. We do go ahead and build some additional battleships, since we are almost certainly going to take some losses in this one. And awfully enough, we can build only 9 out of the 10 battleships our country can produce at any one point, which is just kind of annoying from an, not really OCD, but just an aesthetic perspective. At any rate, though, we are bombarding a few of their worlds. We split our army into 2 armies. We could honestly support more armies. We could probably support an army per fleet. We do end up sending one of our fleets over to reinforce this worryingly rapidly shrinking fleet, which went from roughly the same size as the 25,000 stack down to 7,000, and they're really just losing numbers at a really rapidly diminishing rate. I guess that works in basically every way. The fleet was rapidly diminishing, but the rate at which it diminished also slowed down as we dominated all of the things around it. At any rate, though, we're now at 34% war score. I believe we have invaded successfully one of their worlds. We're just going to keep moving the armies about. Now we have 2 worlds under our control. And at this point, it's really just more of the same. Just sending our fleets to all of the more or less nearby worlds, destroying their orbital facilities, and then shuffling our armies around. We're also researching sentient AI in order to speed up our research, since that's something that has been drastically slowed down over time. And yeah, more or less, we're just keeping up with the war at this point. The main reason for this war, well, 2 reasons. One is it would obviously be very nice for us to just fully dominate the galaxy, although it would also be rather tedious for us to just go about the process of getting to the point where we fully dominate the galaxy. And the game is slightly slowing down, which arguably could be due to all of the pops involved. So if we purge quite a bit of the population of our empire, then we have a few possible benefits from that. One, we'll get rid of anyone who's unhappy, so we'll have less risk of revolt. That's a good positive. 2, we will get rid of everyone unhappy. That's really the main one. Maybe also speed up the game. Maybe also get more areas for humans to colonize. We have gene modification available, so we could probably move humans to a few various worlds, then change their genome so that humans are, well, branches of humanity, I suppose, would be more suited for colonization of various areas. And once various groups of humans are suitable to colonize all the worlds in the galaxy, we can go ahead and colonize all the worlds in the galaxy with humans. We do go ahead and win that war, taking quite a bit of their land. There's also a new dominion, the PostWar dominion, which is currently hidden by all these little menus. We do go ahead and just kind of more or less purge a few of the peoples if they can't be made to like us. All of these people we're probably just going to have to enslave since they seem rather upset. And really the way that we're determining this is if they're worlds that are decently habitable by humans, then we're probably just going to purge all of the upset aliens. If it's not very habitable by humans, then we'll just kind of enslave the people. Since we want to make room in the galaxy for our primary species to move around and, colonize and, I guess, just achieve all that they can. At any rate, at this point, we are the most powerful empire in the world. One even likes us now since we released them. We're only 11% of the population in our own empire, and we are still just the second most populous species in the galaxy, underneath the people we just fought in that war. Also, you'll notice that a lot of people are not really going to ever be happy with our state, so they're the type that might have to be removed. At any rate, thank you very much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day.